will we get a Disney Lorcana animated series?
There's 9s in here even. There's not even a
That's
10 set.
insane.
What are we doing?
Here's an 8 cert, right? Here, a 12 cert. Look at the frame. Collectors Universe, the parent company of PSA, is buying Beckett, and record-breaking auction prices, including a first ed Charizard that skyrocketed to the moon. And where is all of the sealed product that John promised us was coming for the holidays? We're going to cover all that and more on today's episode of the Off Center Podcast, your home for perfectly imperfect hobby talk, one off-center take at a time. I'm your host, Squeaks, and I'm here joined by my co-hosts, Radar, Thrifty, and Mason. Guys, let's jump right into it. We got the breaking news today as we are filming this that Collectors Universe, the parent company of PSA, is going to buy Beckett. Historically, these were or are the two juggernauts of grading in the hobby. For many of you that don't remember, back in like the 2015 era, Beckett was the grading
Not my
company.
juggernaut.
Beckett was the first. Beckett was
they
the first.
were the grading company. You know, Pokemon really wasn't a primary graded thing. Other TCGs weren't primarily graded. It was mainly Magic and sports cards. And Magic was almost all BGS.
Yep.
Same with sports. Then PSA really ramped onto the scene. And, you know, and took over, especially in Pokemon. And as Pokemon rose, so has PSA. Now, we're almost seeing this flip-flop where PSA dominated the industry for years. CGC came onto the scene, kind of took that second place seat. And then it was always, you know, SGC and BGS. We're kind of fighting for that third and fourth. SGC, also bought by Collectors about a year ago, I think it was. And now, here we are. Today, as of the filming of this on Monday, Beckett, BGS is going to be under Collectors.
Yeah, 1 week
I
later.
want to throw it to Mason. Mason's got the statement for us. I want Mason to read it for us, just so you're all aware of what's happening here, and then we'll jump into it and talk.
Pull
about
her
it.
up, Mason. Pull her up.
Yeah, so just to clarify some things, because we were talking about this earlier. You know, and again, this is brand new to us. As you know, as we go on to the week, things might change. You know, more details will come out. But as we understand it, Collectors is buying the Beckett Grading service, not the entire branding of the just Beckett name, not all the Collectivus, which is who owns like Beckett's Grading Services, Southern Hobby, Dragon Shield, all these other companies. It's also like an umbrella company, so it's not that. They're just acquiring the Beckett Grading service from them to PSA. So distinction there. Yeah, we can go over this press release. This came out today from Santa Clara, California. Collectors, a leading provider of grading and marketplace services in the collectibles industry, announced that they have entered a definitive agreement to acquire Beckett, one of the most respected companies in collecting. Beckett will remain an independent brand, with the Collectors family of companies continuing to operate on their own operations, customer service, and standards around grading, marketplace, magazine, and price guide.
That
Yeah.
last part. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I just cut you off there. But that last part there of same standards, I hope not. I hope PSA,
I hope not.
I hope Collector comes in and gives them some of their updated processes and helps Beckett
Let's
do things
streamline
better.
this.
Yeah,
Let's
because
streamline this a
like
little
as far as
bit.
the standards of grading, like the scale, sure, keep it the same. But like the practices, the processes of getting to those grades and getting those done and keeping things. I mean, Sean, we were just talking about this with our magazine or our manga grading, which I don't know if it's a part of this. I don't think it is a part of this because that's like CBCS or something, right?
I think it's still part of.
Is it still part of
isn't it?
BGS?
Like, why wouldn't?
Well,
they
you can
include
go on
that?
Beckett's
That's what
website
I'm
and
like.
sign up
Yeah.
for the grading. So I
Right,
assume it's part
but
of
yeah,
it.
like I mean, everyone has the same complaint with Beckett. Is like you send it off to them and it's in the abyss
never
until you
know
get it
where
back. You know, so that whole pizza tracker that PSA has, let's add that in. Let's give that to Beckett. That'd be great.
It would
Definitely.
be nice.
Yeah, and Beckett, you know, to be fair, they do have an online portal that you can go and see your submission, go through that process. I figured, you know, John and I figured out where the manga one was, so we did think it was in the abyss, like actually in the
We
abyss.
found
unless
it.
you got an email.
Yay.
But it turns out it's just on a different website, which was not entirely clear because you can go through the Beckett website to actually grade it.
That's so
like to-
unhelpful, though. Why is it on the same?
Yeah,
website?
I wish there would have been like a little
What are we
prompt, like, hey, by the way, if you want to see where your order's at, you're gonna have to go here. Because I kept checking my Beckett account, and I was just like, oh my god, they didn't get these. They said
They're
they got them. I
just
have an
gone,
email,
dude.
but I can't see them. Yeah, so I hope I'm getting them back. But I figured it out now. I was probably the dummy there. It probably does say it somewhere. But let's get back to this. This is a big deal. You know, this is reminiscent of eBay buying TCG Player. Right, that was a really, really big deal in itself. TCG Player had just acquired, you know, Channel Fireball. Channel Fireball had acquired Binder POS, which was kind of coming onto the scene to compete with Crystal Commerce. Yep, exactly. Like, you know, you're seeing Mason there do the, you know, just the little fish get eaten by the big fish,
Yep.
and then the next big fish gets eaten. And you know, when eBay bought TCG Player, they kind of had what felt like a similar message, if I remember right, which was, you know, these are going to remain separate companies with their separate infrastructures, all of those things. But there were a lot of people similar to John's sentiment here that were I hope actually some of the really good things from eBay do carry over to TCG Player. I can think of one for me is on eBay when you ship out small items is you can use the eBay standard delivery. It's like, I think now it's like 72 or 78 cents, something like that. And you can send it in a PWE, plain white envelope, and send it through the mail with tracking. At least it tracks from when they receive it to when it goes away.
I
Does that
wish.
Love
does
to
that
see
work?
that on
Does it work
TCG
that way,
Player.
Mason?
That's something
I mean,
TCG players. Yeah, go ahead.
It does work that way.
It does
It's
work.
better than what that is.
Way better.
Also, Squeaks, tell me that you don't sell cheap cards by saying that you don't know how much a stamped envelope is. It's
What do
okay.
you mean? No, the eBay
no.
standard envelope. It's like 70
Uh-huh.
cents, isn't it?
78 cents. It is. Yep.
Yeah, 78 cents. Yeah, I sell them all the time. I just hit the button pay. It's went up like 100 times since it started.
Yeah, he can't be
like,
bothered with like
no.
a 8-cent
understand.
increase
Yeah,
cover, but yeah.
There's been so many of these acquisitions in the last 2 years that have really, like you said, kind of been like meaningless in the sense that no one's integrating anything. I think the only one that has been meaningful is the vault, the PSA vault. That's the only one that's been like actively used and integrated into like one of these companies' businesses. But yeah, everybody is complaining or using the word monopoly. I think every single person I follow on Instagram reshared this story in some capacity, and the majority of them said, "Oh, monopoly, monopoly, monopoly." They've already had a monopoly, and that was chosen by the users, by the collectors, because what 80 90 some percent of grades get sent to PSA at this point. It's like 1.6 million per month. Beckett's what Thrifty we were talking about, 75K.
It's nothing.
SGC is like half of that, and the CGC is a couple $100,000 or a couple $100,000 of cards. So like PSA already had a monopoly, but like
They had at least a market share. They do have a hot market share.
yeah, market share is the right word.
Yeah, and
But
I understand where people are coming from, right? Monopoly, when you think about it in the context of like who owns all of the service, right? Like we're seeing right now, Netflix is in talks to potentially get, is it Warner Brothers? I believe it is. And now it's like Paramount's coming out, like trying to like do a hostile overbid or something like that, because I think they were originally in talks, and there was a lot of concern there that Netflix may not be able to buy Warner Brothers because of that same thing, right? That it may be deemed a monopoly. Now, there's probably a lot of politics involved with that kind of stuff. You're talking multi-billion dollars going up there. But it's a similar thing here, but the biggest difference is unregulated, right? Unregulated industry. Because of the fact that PSA is no longer a collector's universe, is no longer a publicly traded company. They used to be on the NASDAQ as CLCT. They're no longer. They were privately bought out. Those shareholders were bought out to where now they're not really under that thumb in that regard. They still have to follow, all of the FTC and SEC regulations and things like that. But I can't imagine the watchful eye really cares at this moment in time about whether or not, PSA is buying Beckett when
Elizabeth
trading
Warren's
volume.
not knocking down their door for this.
Yeah. Whereas,
that's not
like
happening,
in my head, if TCG Player was allowed to be bought by eBay, and that one was seen as fine, when those were essentially definitively the two largest TCG marketplaces, with Troll and Toad probably being third, or at least was at the time, I can't imagine that any regulatory body is going to care about this. Like,
it's like it's not that much more. Like what they're doing, nothing. Like the amount of grading that Beckett actually does is like a drop in the bucket compared to PSA.
Yeah,
like
I'll try
it's
to find the actual number that Beckett's grades compared
It's
to PSA.
I think it was like under 800,000 all of last year, like all of this year, maybe actually like this calendar year. And it's like that's what half of what PSA does in a month. Like get it together. That doesn't matter to them.
So let's think about it like this then. What is the advantage for PSA to buying Beckett? There's the notoriety of the Black Label,
Reputability,
right?
I guess, or whatever. But
I mean, they have been around a long time, right? Large client base. They have the Black Label, which is something like an area that PSA has not really ever wanted to dive into in terms of like, let's make a grade above the 10. And, one side that maybe we're not thinking as much about, but could be relevant is the signature authentication side.
That's a part of this too.
Which we don't see as much done with PSA. They do authentication of signatures, but that was Beckett's thing for the longest time, especially with like sports and everything like that. Seeing that partnership there now, I believe PSA's partnered with JSA now. Is that right?
That's a part of collectors,
That's-
whatever acronym it is. But it's BGS, the grading, and then BAS, which is the Beckett Authentication Services. That's going into this, and that has definitely been one of the bigger portions of Beckett's business, I believe, as far as the autograph authentication.
Well, Beckett has the ability to do some odd holder things in terms of like, I know that there was a time where you could get like 2 legend piece cards done in a holder. Like PSA doesn't deviate from their holder standards.
That's pretty
they've
cool.
got holders for what they make. That's
Right.
it. So
But
that may open up some avenues for them as well.
Like when they bought SGC, I mean, SGC is just kind of pretty slowly, progressively fallen off more and more since they bought them. Is that, another thing they're looking at doing is trying to slowly push that that company out of the grading eye so that PSA can be the premier spot. Because there is a world where like I know competition's good for everybody, it's good for the economy, it's good for whatever, but there is a world where like having one single home for grading and authenticating is great for collectibles, because you're just working on the same exact scale across
Everyone's on the
everything,
same scale, yeah, sure.
and there's no more of this.
I have numbers if you guys want to talk
Objectivity.
about the numbers. So I got the market share for 2024, just to compare like PSA versus Beckett just in general, right?
Yeah.
PSA is 76% of the market share for all grading. Beckett is 3%. So
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. It's literally insignificant.
Shouldn't really matter.
2024. 2025, it's probably like 1% versus 89%.
Sure, probably even a bigger number. TCGs was 72% for PSA, 4% for Beckett. So,
all right,
buying out competition really probably not really the case. Probably just
yeah, and I don't think it's a competition thing, right? I think it's a brand image thing, right? If under your umbrella, your helm, SGC, which was a premier up-and-comer in sports cards, they were really starting to take, some decent market share in sports. Now you've got Beckett, which has always been a premier for autographs. It's been a premier for the Black Label, the really high-end chase. You've got now PSA, which is just the largest market share. That is a really, really tough group of companies because you kind of cover everything. And now under your parent company, that notoriety really carries. And when you do have a competitor, a larger competitor like CGC that has been able to gain some of that market share since they've came onto the scene, and they do things like comics and they do things like video games, and they're willing to expand into other categories, and they've shown that they are willing to try to at least keep up in terms of like new technology, new expansion, new things. That actually seems more interesting because, you can recall CGC has the pristine 10 grade. They do have an upper echelon grade that PSA doesn't have. We've kind of talked about the comparisons before. Thrifty had mentioned, that like there was an advantage sometimes to grading with CGC for X, Y, and Z thing. Now, Beckett's reputation almost is going to roll into PSA's reputation, I think, in some regards, which could be beneficial. And, we say that it like, oh, they're going to be separate companies. It's going to be different. I don't know, though. The amount of times I've heard people reference, well, TCG players owned by eBay, X, Y, and Z. And this isn't the first time we've seen this, right? Collectors also acquired WATA in video games, and now they've went ahead and actually rebranded WATA into PSA just as of recently, to the point all the holders now are PSA branded, all the branding around it, they changed all the socials. Effectively, they said, if you are a WATA person, now you are a PSA person.
Buy black labels. You got a red label now, boys.
Yeah, and like who knows, right? So like it's one of those things where right now they're separate companies. WATA and PSA were separate companies when the acquisition happened, and now they're not. Right, in terms of like when I say separate, right, because I think it was PSA actually directly acquired, but maybe it was collectors, I don't know. But regardless, WATA's no more, right? Mm-hmm. It is now just PSA.
Well, I can see them doing that with like, because they have the video game, right, at Beckett, or no, the VHS at Beckett. They have the manga at Beckett. They have, what else? Is there anything else there? They might turn those over to PSA, but we also saw like Funko come and go with PSA grading, so maybe those will.
Or they send them to Beckett instead. Like
correct. It may not even be a roll Beckett into PSA. It may just be we want to have those service offerings, right? It's all about downstream revenue. If you already have all these people grading cards, now you could say, well, if you've got manga, here's our sister company.
Yeah,
Beckett,
maybe they set up. Yeah, they set Beckett up as like the premier pop culture grading company.
Exactly. Right? They may see this as an opportunity for we, with our marketing arm, our connections, our clientele base, we can grow Beckett into what it was not previously. And with our influence or our parent company's influence with some of the shared resources, we could actually turn Beckett into what we believe it should be, right? And so there's that potential there too. They may also just leave it exactly like it is now. I don't know, but
I think they might be like, what if they expand their GameStop deal? Oh, you want to send to PSA? I want you to send to Beckett as well now. How about that?
Yeah, they're both in Dallas.
I would take that.
May as well.
That's that would be a big come up for them.
How about Beckett slabs in the vault? Now it's
I think you already
Beckett
can do
PSA vault.
I think you can vault any slab already, right? Yeah. So they already have that infrastructure.
But it could be like
easier.
Well, a Beckett vault, though. It could be like
I visited Beckett when I was living there in Dallas, and they had when they brought me in to take a look, they had brought in a guy to build the actual vault in Dallas for them, and they were putting in like super high end stuff. They had a wall of Michael Jordan stuff, a wall of like comic books, all these types of things. So they do have like a physical vault there, which is kind of cool. They could utilize that finally. I think they spent a lot of money on it and never really used it.
Oh God.
Well, and something else I'm thinking about in terms of like you had mentioned partnering with like expanding your partnership with GameStop. It's my understanding right now that when you sell a card that goes through eBay Authenticity Guarantee, it either goes to CGC or PSA depending on if it's graded or raw. What if you wanted to expand out your offerings of what you could offer to eBay and maybe nudge your competitor out of a service like that? right? Like that door may open up now. Hey, we have this whole other facility that could do your authentication. We have this whole other group of people. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm just saying, in a mind of a company that very clearly wants to take as much market share and as much brand name recognition as they can from this industry and get it under their umbrella, that's a good opportunity to hit your opponent where it hurts, right? And this is business at the end of the day. And so I for me, a lot of what I'm thinking about is, where do PSA and CGC overlap, or collectors and then CGC overlap, right? And how can, they've got to be thinking, how each one of them, how can we get more market share? How can we get more customer acquisition? And that to me is one. And eBay is a really interesting prospect because we're already seeing these companies, making partnerships with them. And when you look at like TCG Player right now, we talked about how like we'd love to see some of those features carry over. We are starting to. TCG Player just announced that they're going to offer international buyers to buy through TCG Player, and you as the seller don't have to do anything different. You'll just send it to one of the addresses that they've partnered with, right? I can't imagine that would have happened if they were under eBay and eBay knew how to set up that infrastructure and everything, because they already do it with their international program, right? We had never seen that previously. That to me feels like eBay influence. So even though these companies may be separate, I wouldn't be shocked to see some of that infrastructural and resource influence
I hope
come
so,
into
man.
the
It'll
Beckett
be.
side.
I hope so. Mason, you were going to say something.
Yeah, just because I know a little bit more about that forwarding.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is two different companies. One is out of like Washington, I think, and one is in Florida, where they're going to forward it to, I believe, mostly Asian countries right now. But like all these like Ship My Card,
Yep.
companies. I don't forget the names actually, but it is once I ship a card to them, it shows it delivered to that company. I'm
Then
done.
it's out of your hands.
It's out of my hands.
Yeah.
I get paid. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Love
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you also look at it regionally, right? PSA has California and New Jersey. Let's throw one in the middle of the country. We can, it could be a talent thing, like with GameStop too, talent acquisition for people. I mean, there's a lot of those at a macro level of a company, of a corporate company thinking like that. So I'm sure there's plenty of benefits there. Cheaper real estate, getting a bigger warehouse, whatever it might be. I'd imagine PSA's vault, or whoever's vaults are in Delaware or Oregon, like PWCC or Fanatics. So it could, there's also that regional support, I guess, moving in a central location. I mean, a lot of things flow through Dallas a lot. So
yeah. Well, and speaking of like regional, there's a whole international component to this as well. We've talked about how PSA, for example, expanding to Canada. I believe CGC has expanded to China. I know PSA expanded to Japan. I believe
PSA in the UK now too. That's
they're in the
new
UK.
one.
I believe Beckett was making a big push in Europe as well. So that may be part, like for them, that may be part of that mind too. Is, hey, they're already starting to get a foothold in some of these areas. We bring that arm under, that helps us get coverage from our parent company, right? And in terms of like diversification of regionality and things, because I still want to, I want to take them at face value that these are going to remain separate companies, separate names, separate infrastructure. But if you're buying a company, you're not just buying it for no reason, right? And so you got to start to look at like, what are the strategic advantages for Collectors Universe to get Beckett? And having that international coverage is a big strategic advantage, because at the end of the day, even if you're separate companies, now you're like sister companies where there's far less harm in terms of, oh, hey, yeah, you can grade these things over there because we don't offer it, or hey, yeah, we have these other services that we offer, the marketing share, all of that kind of thing. There's a lot more overlap. And so when we talk about this, like trying to obtain market share, one of the biggest areas of market share to obtain is international, that has been relatively underserviced since grading, first really exploded outside of sports cards from 2015 on. And I think we're only going to see that push even more. So I'm
the
not
timing,
really surprised to see this, I guess, is what I would say. But like
the timing is hysterical, because there's been this whole drama thing around PSA with what they did with those tag team cards, and people are boycotting PSA, starting to send it back. It's like, oh, we'll just buy Beckett. So now
that is funny.
So that has nothing to do with it.
I don't want to like deep dive into that, but that kind of stuff is so dumb. The amount of times we've heard that over the years. And
it's a joke. It's a joke.
Tech is going to tech. Things are going to
happen.
Does
this change any of your guys' mind on like how you're going to grade with either of these companies at all?
No.
Maybe.
Honestly, no.
No. Maybe. Here's why. I think Beckett specifically has the most to gain from this as a company. Like Collectors obviously has a ton to gain from having both, but Beckett, if they can get a lot of the processes, the integration of resources, the AI, we know that PSA bought Genomit years ago. I assume that's lended to a lot of like efficiency in terms of centering grading and things like that. if they can get a lot of that kind of infrastructural support, not only will that allow Beckett to expand their capacity, but it'll allow Beckett to expand the quality of the offering that they bring, which I think gives, collectors and vendors another option when times like PSA are heavily backed up and you do have to go somewhere else. So I think, there is also just a reassurance and a confidence in things like, guarantees of what if I buy a card that's graded, then it turns out fake or something like that, that because it's under that umbrella, you have a lot more confidence that you're going to be taken care of, you're going to be treated right, that, and that the company's going to be around long term, right? I think Beckett, because of their grading volume, there has been speculation for years on, will they be able to survive on that grading volume? Can they pay all these graders? Can they have all this infrastructure on that low of grading volume? Is this a sustainable business model? And that gives me a lot more reassurance that Beckett as a brand name is going to be around years from now, because collectors has enough resources to keep them afloat.
Because they're like propping them up, basically.
Exactly, as they build that up and build that base. So I actually think Beckett, specifically of the three, collectors, PSA, and Beckett, stands to have the most from this.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that collectors is going to buy them and be like, oh yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Like that to me would just that just doesn't seem to be how they would operate. When you're that
like PSA is just so far and above beyond everyone else that them getting BGS, they can actually start competing and potentially taking more market share away from CGC, away from Tag, away from these other companies that are gaining traction, that are building up. So
yeah, if you could actually give people like what they want with the pizza tracker and actual turnaround times and like
let me ask you this. You guys said it wouldn't change how you grade.
Because I've never sent to Beckett before. Like I wouldn't send to Beckett. Like I don't care.
What if they
made it easy, I would.
Yes, if Beckett had the infrastructure of PSA right now, same prices, same infrastructure, same everything, just you get it. Just says Beckett, it's in a slab, you have the black label chance that. Would that change your mind on submitting to Beckett?
If they have the same app as PSA, yes.
What's the upcharge on a black label now?
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's true. With positive infrastructure, you can also get negative changes as well, right? So things like that could be implemented. Fair market
now,
value
all they
percentages.
do is charge you $4 more if you get the black label, because they charge you for subgrades, don't they?
For the subgrades, which that's been for a little while, I think. I do prefer that. Look, I would much rather that than CGC's original
100%.
CGC's original system of if you didn't pay for subgrades, you just couldn't get a perfect 10.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
That was not a good system. I'm glad they recognized it.
You don't need subgrades when you have a perfect card. They're all 10.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
No, I know, but which is exactly why it should have never been that way in the first place, right? Because it was literally just a money game. It was literally
just for the Prestige 10s. The Prestige 10s, you're paying the extra $4 to see which one got the 9.5. So you know.
Yeah.
So you know it was definitely the centering, and it will be something else next time.
Yeah. So I actually don't have a problem with that with Beckett in terms of like that they upcharge you on putting the subgrades on the label or whatever. But
no, I'd actually prefer it, so I don't have to pay for the entire sub to get subgrades. Technically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want the entire subgrades if they're.
I remember
that's actually what I would have loved CGC to have done.
I wasted so much money in the early days with CGC.
You silly joker! What was it, like $7?
It was
same. But I would have loved that too. I actually would have loved if CGC kept the perfect grade and just got rid of the done a similar thing, like you just pay an upcharge if you get the perfect. Like I actually really liked the perfect 10. I liked what that it was the black label equivalent. I liked what it stood for. Would have loved a different label. Still love that they went to the new black and gold labels. Don't love that they got rid of it completely.
There is some humbleness there, saying that there's no perfect cards out there. It's hard to actually prove that this card is perfect versus another one. So.
I don't know, man. Scratches, centering, it's a science. there is science there. Like I don't know. That's what Tag would tell you. Tag and AGS would tell you it is a science, and there's an algorithm. And
I don't listen. If Tag said it,
they're still working on it.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so no fear, nothing changing in any of our minds here. Mason, you got nothing scary out of this?
I mean, I would assume they're going to run this just like they run SGC. I mean, you guys might know better than me. What changed when they bought SGC? Anything? Probably not.
The numbers just went down.
If you out there know if anything has changed since this SGC was acquired, let us know, because none of us are really.
Are they still sending to a house in South Florida? So that's all I know about SGC.
Yeah, no clue.
It's just a house in Boca. It's happening.
Yeah, I had Nat on my old podcast, and I'm trying to my memory's all mixed up. I don't know if it was on the episode I had with him or like PK or someone else, but I remember Nat talking about kind of his nostalgia towards Beckett.
Yeah, he loves it.
That's his little verbiage he has right here. He says the first ever card I submitted for grading was to Beckett. So
Yeah.
Well, because Nat
he's a
was
big- he's a
like, to
big
be
pain.
clear, Nat was a huge collector before he got involved with PSA, is my understanding. So like, he's one of us, you know, like
The
if there's
goodest
anyone
boy
that
in the
is-
hobby, dude.
Yeah,
He is.
so
He's doing this for the
I,
hobby, guys.
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, look, it's a great thing when your hobby can also like financially set you up for life. Right? I'm pretty sure he was.
Well,
okay
no,
before he
It's
got
a jobby now, dude.
He was okay well before this. I think.
Yeah,
it's-
yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
our hobby is like, oh, we made it. You know, we got a little extra money. We bought a card. He bought a company. That
Yeah,
great
sure,
card.
sure.
So
He bought a
yeah.
universe.
Yeah,
Let's be
he bought
real.
a- he bought a
Yeah, the
universe.
collector's universe. Literally, he is acquiring the Thanos stones as we speak, like the Infinity Stones. Yeah,
Grabbing
he's
Infinity
getting them
Stones
all.
as he goes.
Yeah,
But
so-
he's uniting us. He's a good Thanos.
Happy
Somebody's gonna make the
Thanos.
Thanos meme of him holding the gauntlet and like CGC's like the Iron Man, and
We
it's
can do
like,
that. We can Photoshop that.
like-
It's
Listen,
easy.
Mason
I
can
got
whip
that.
it up.
With it, that's our thumbnail. Make it
Nate, put it here.
Yeah.
Whenever you do it.
yeah. But yeah. So overall,
The fan.
I don't think any like the only thing I can think in the short term is like maybe people care about Beckett and Black Labels more now because they have more confidence in it going forward. But other than that, I think it's just going to remain status quo for some time. First of all, I don't think the average person knows about this right now.
There was also people saying like, oh, it's CGC all over again. Start buying with the 9.5s. They're gonna turn to 10s.
Oh, because they're gonna change
Oh,
the
yeah.
scale or something.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Yeah.
That would be yeah. I don't think so either. Especially if they're keeping them separate, that would be a really big endeavor. I know that there were some talks with Beckett wanting to change their scale a couple of years ago. They had like
And then
shown
people
that.
rioted.
Yeah,
like-
they had shown that they were going to change it at a convention.
They
and
stopped that.
It was
people
their
did
label.
not.
It wasn't the scale. It was literally just their label, and people hated that so much.
Yeah,
I'm
and
pretty
so
sure.
yeah, I would be shocked if they change anything in the immediate. I think keeping the status quo where people just kind of gain confidence of like, okay, things are going to still be normal. Like nothing really is changing. Whereas like if you buy something and then just start changing stuff immediately, it makes your whole press release seem
That
like
freaks everyone out.
yeah. So I would be surprised to just see things kind of just not be any different at all.
Yeah, there probably won't
and-
be statements made. Like it's not going to be a whole big deal. Like they said
No,
that
get the
they-
slow infrastructural changes over time, and a lot of that stuff we'll probably never even see. We'll just recognize things happen. You know, kind of like right now, PSA new cases. They have new holders that they put out. I didn't realize I got my submission in, and everything felt heavier, but it also felt like more quality, more durable. That they have kind of like a frosted ice frame around the cards now. They feel nice.
sure?
Like honestly, they
You sure?
feel. Brother, I'm so Hold on,
They're
I
actually
got 'em right
harder
here,
to
right
craft
here.
too. They're
Yeah, this is high quality streaming right here.
I mean, they've
can
always been
show you.
they've always been frosted squeaks. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Look, okay.
They look the exact
This is
same.
bad quality. Here's an 8 cert, right?
Okay.
Here is a 12 cert. Look at the frame. No. Look at the frame. Look at the corners. Like, look at the corners right here versus right here. I'm telling you, it's different.
I'm looking at some too right now. I don't.
Well,
see
here I can
anything.
prove it to you. I can watch this. Watch.
I
now
know
we're getting science.
Look,
Whoa.
Here's a scale.
I know they announced this. I know it was a
What
thing,
do you-
but
12 cert. Okay, now my scale's
Put it
not
on the
reading
ground.
right.
You have to put it.
I know.
you
I have to
can't
set
hold
it down.
scale.
I was trying to be
Hold it.
lazy. Okay, hold on.
You can't hold a scale and expect to get.
Okay, the 12 cert, 2 ounces exactly.
mhm,
The
mhm.
8 cert, same card, 1.6 ounces. The case is 0.4 ounces heavier. And I'm telling you, you can see it in the frame. Like, you can feel it. When you hold it, it is a noticeable difference. These feel sturdier. They feel better.
I believe you. They just don't look. That
Yeah,
good.
I promise you. I promise you. Also, if anyone wants to buy these, both up for sale. So,
You-
What
you
an
sh-
actual shill. He's
More-
hey,
yeah,
we're
you-
here. The cards
not
are out.
Who knew? Who knew Squeaks was gonna be the first one to shill their
Discounts on the 1.6 ouncer
just
versus the 2 ounce.
Imagine how bad I would be if Dragon Ball Z was actually doing what One
If
Piece
you
was doing.
actually were-
True,
Oh,
true, yeah.
goodness. I would be
We
so
would,
excited for us.
He's already bad, and Dragon Ball Z's not doing well. That's the kicker.
All right. But
All
let's-
right.
on to the
So
next
that's
thing.
Beckett,
Yeah.
and they have now been purchased by Collectors Universe. Big deal in the hobby, but that's not the only big deal in the hobby that we have had lately. Last week, we talked to you guys about Heritage Auctions. They had a big signature auction, tons of Pika trophies, First Ed Charizards, English First Deck, clocks, all kinds of stuff. Now,
Clocks.
there was a clock. There was a clock.
The clock.
We have the
The
results.
clock.
The
The
clock.
clock. We have the results from that auction, and some of them not surprising, some of them surprising. So we just wanted to go back over a few of them with you. We're gonna buzz through them here real quick. Starting with the First Ed Charizard. This
Let's see
is
it.
the talk of the auction. You know, for a while coming out of COVID, these were getting up to like 300,000. Then they fell back down to that 175, 200K mark. The question was are these ever going to go up again? Here's our answer.
Today is that day.
$550,000 for an old 2 cert. What do you guys think?
The record was 420, I think, exactly. From
Ayo,
the
giggity.
COVID
Mhm.
time.
That was a big
And,
jump. A big jump.
And then, like you said, I mean, these things were selling for a solid year and a half after that for 200, 220. You know, and seeing it go to 550, I think we were dead on. I mean, we talked about this last week.
Over half a mil.
Over half a mil. I mean, it is on its way to the $1 million mark. I love this.
Well, and it beats out the CGC.
He just wants to be right. Is so dark. Like that's all
I have never owned one of these. I've never middlemaned one of these. I've never nothing with one of these. Which, yeah, I opened one.
Okay, so do we know what the Charizard did? What's the gap? What's the gap between a PSA
Yeah,
and CGC?
PSA and CGC. What was that one?
Well, we'll get to it, but it's. I think it's. I was right there, John. It was right there.
106,000.
106,000.
I said 100K. I said 100K.
Yeah, Thrift said 100K. I believe this is also a record. So we knew of the one being sold on Facebook for 150 that somebody was asking for, but it hadn't been sold. I believe this is also a record. So we're looking at about 20%.
Bro, I think there's meat on the bone here. Is that crazy? Am I crazy right now?
I don't think you're that crazy because first of all,
sell this for like 125 bin.
This is 25% value, so it's an 80% gap. But this card, when we looked at it, was also quite clean. Now, again, we're looking through scans.
Well, look, I mean, that we've seen that a lot in the past too, with like even like Michael Jordan rookies. There is a significant difference based on the condition of the card, even if it is a 10. So this was.
But also, would you send a base like
100%?
This has to have been at CGC and I mean PSA and Beckett. How many times do you think this has been in a slab?
In a PSA 9
before this,
3 to 5 times.
3 to 7.
Wait, you think this one? I thought we looked at this and we all felt this one was comparable, if not better than that.
No. Thrifty's saying that it was probably graded
through every
at
other
PSA multiple times, and then they're like, never mind, I'll just do the 10.
Just saying.
I'm definitely beating myself up not buying a CGC 10 when they were like what 30-40K.
It's crazy.
That would have been nice to have, just to have one in a 10, like not just because of the price.
Whoa, base Japanese 75K for that box. Holy shit.
But yeah. It is a pretty big difference. That's bigger than I would think. I mean, I don't know what the last pristine 10 first edition Charizard. It also had like the gold NBA logo on it, right? That's
so you're talking about the one that was auctioned through Sotheby's, and that one went low as well.
Yeah, that went to 7. No,
I thought it went over 3.
No, I thought it was sub 200.
Oh, maybe
was it 176?
I thought it was 175. Was what my head was telling me.
Because
I remember at the time, first ed Charizards in a 10 for PSA were still 200K, and that one went below that, and I thought that was the cleanest Charizard first ed I've ever seen in my life. Ever.
Yeah.
That was a really nice.
That Charizard, honestly, I think long term will be the record setter, and I don't know if it'll be in that slab or if it gets regraded to a PSA 10 or they regrade it with Beckett and try to get a pristine. But that was hands down the cleanest first ed Charizard. Now, granted, again, only saw it through scans and digital images. But from what I saw, it was the cleanest one I've ever seen.
I mean, there's 4 BGS 10s. None have ever sold publicly, never at auction, nothing. So I don't know what a CGC pristine 10 would sell for at this point. Would it beat this?
That's the thing is I don't think it would. Like, I know there's a premium on modern and like junkier cards, but not that, I don't think, weirdly. But
no, I think we're starting to get to the echelon where the name recognition just matters too much for the same reasons that we talked about just a few seconds ago with like Beckett going under PSA's umbrella and how that could help them. I think it just gets to the point where if you want to own one of these cards, you want to own it in the premium slab of the company because you need to trust it, right? You need to be like, you're owning a $500,000 card. You need to trust that what is giving that premium, that value is from the company that you believe is going to be around the longest.
And it's that whole like Bored Apes thing. Like you own one of these, you're a part of the club. You're there could very well be a PSA 10 Charizard party. Do you own a Jordan rookie in a 10, a Charizard in a 10, or whatever, like premier card in each category.
The card Illuminati.
Yeah,
and I want to be clear. I want to make this really clear because it sounds like we're just hating on CGC. I think all of us like CGC.
No,
we love grading with CGC. But there is just a reality of like how the market has spoken, right? When we look at this Illustrator in a 9, we have been told, at least privately, that there was a $2 million PSA 9 sale. Assuming grading scales are comparable, this card just went for $325,000. I mean, that's such an astronomical gap between the two. That
there's the PSA 8.5 that sold a week before this for 610. What was it? What was the number?
Ooh,
it was 660, I believe.
Yuck.
680. So yeah, we're talking half of the value for what is perceived to be a lower grade. Now, I don't think this was a blue label previously, but if you assumed, it had the half-point bump or whatever because it's really an 8.5, whatever, that's still same grade, and it went for half the value. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think, because what I think would be maybe very different than what everyone else thinks. At the end of the day, it's what does the mass majority of the public think? And I think this is something that's good for us to talk about because we see this a lot in the hobby, not just with high-end cards, but with everything. So people will buy stuff based on, what they want to happen or what they wish was true instead of what is just actually true, right? Oh, this thing is undervalued. I should buy it because I think it's undervalued. regardless of what everyone else thinks.
Is it also a case of what I asked last week? Is this a Golden 100 auction? Ken Golden, Netflix, does he have the buyers? Does he have better buyers now? Does he have better marketing now than Heritage does? Like, that difference is insane. If I had 300 grand,
one thing
I buy this card, I regrade it with PSA, I flip it, I make 100 grand, 200
100K
grand.
at least, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's weird that they can set a record for one card and then literally have the other, which is like a pinnacle card, like is a stupid, super influential card in the hobby, can also go for literally half price at the same time. Like, actually kind of insane.
To me, this is more of a sense of the buyer pool between Heritage and Golden than it is the grade, because this is too big of a difference on a card, unless I'm missing something significant on this CGC9. But I think it's the buyer pool. I think it's the marketing now that Golden has over Heritage.
Well, and it could be one of the factors could be, do people feel it's overgraded? Right? We had talked last time we looked at it. It had the little etches in the R's, whatever. Thrifty thought this was for sure an 8, maybe a 7. You and I said probably closer to an 8 if it crossed the PSA. This is where like you start to get to the echelon of card where people are fine-tooth combing the cards. They're not just buying them. Oh, it says 10, I'm buying a 10. Sometimes that happens, but very rarely. The average person that's going to spend this much money on a card is going to be diligent with it. And so like there's a lot of factors that go into these things. But at the end of the day, the market has spoken. The market sentiment is there, and it's that right now, at least, PSA is king for these cards.
Speaking
Will
of PSA, let's check
that
this,
way?
please.
I don't know.
What is it? How much did it go for?
What? This
the
one?
TMB set, yeah.
$275, which I believe is the most expensive TMB set for English for any language that we've ever seen.
Oh my god, that is respect.
Extremely, extremely high. Really, really strong sale. If you're somebody out there that owns one of these decks, even if you don't own it in this high a grade, you've got to be really, really excited about this.
Oh, you got to be juiced, bro.
Mason's chuckling over there.
Yeah.
There's 9s in here even. There's not even a 10 set. What are we doing?
Well, and the tropical is only an 8, I believe. So
I don't think there's higher than an 8 though. I think 8's the highest.
And that's the thing. This is just one of the highest graded complete decks that exist. We've also, John, you mentioned last time that like the last one that sold, it was a buyer pool and they split it up. You got to wonder how many of these in English even exist as complete decks anymore, because as prices like that rise, people are more likely to split those things apart. And, as much as my historian heart hates to see that, because I'm always, it should stay together, I understand why people do it, right?
Well,
and everyone wants to own a little piece of history.
You'll probably see some like 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s up for sale.
6, 7! 6, 7! 6, 7!
Because they replaced it with a
10.
Sure, yeah. And
let it be known, nobody reached out to let me buy the Hitmonchan, so I'm a little hot.
Sorry, 15.
I would venture to guess, if I had to wager, Polymarket, one side or the other here, I actually bet this deck doesn't get split. I bet whoever bought this is keeping it together. That would be my guess.
Or they're chasing a full 10 set and they're
that would be so miserable.
That would be your first $1 million sale if it ever came together.
If I had the money, I'd be doing stupid stuff like that.
Well, yeah, but John's stupid stuff versus everyone else's. Let's keep going. So we saw the Pika trophies here. We saw the 450,000. That's a really huge sale. And that's a second tournament. So the second tournament in a 9 eclipsed the first tournament in a 5, right? Super premium grade versus a pretty rough grade, but still 237.5 in a PSA 5. That's a really strong sale, I feel like, for a PSA 5. Like that's a really, really strong sale.
Weren't one of these with like the actual trophy or the what is it called?
Plaque.
The plaque that it came in. I think that was this one, wasn't it? I don't remember.
Maybe.
Actually, not sure.
It was this one.
And that might be also what helped contribute to it, because that itself is quite rare.
It gives you some extra provenance that it was an awarded copy. It wasn't one of the extras that came to be.
I don't think I knew that when we were looking at it last time either.
And that's but overall, I think all of these did really well. Like I think all of these kind of eclipsed where I thought they would land.
For those grades especially, like 7s and 5s and 8s and stuff.
We would be remiss not to mention, by the way, the beta box.
I want to touch on Magic a little bit here. And Mason, I want to get your thoughts because you're probably more of a Magic guy than any of us. But these prices,
much, but yes,
these prices have been like flat for the last 5 years, I think. Vintage Magic, like a beta box at 237, the Antiquities box. I mean, I think this one was around 225, 250, so it hasn't really done anything in 5 years. But Magic just seems flat. I don't know if that's an opportunity or if we're just there. We're just like at the ceiling.
Yeah, it's funny to see 2 games that were being produced at the same time at Wizards of the Coast, basically. Or at least in the same era. Earlier, these were before Pokemon, because that was 93 with that Arabian Nights box. So like older than Pokemon stuff, and it's Pokemon is eclipsing it. I mean, it's just it is interesting to see for sure.
Is that high for a Lotus or low for a Lotus?
For an Alpha Lotus and an 8, again, Magic is a Beckett, preferred grader.
I mean,
But that's low.
it seems low to me. Yeah, that's very low.
It feels low.
The thing I think about, because Magic has about 5 years on Pokemon, but Magic was also targeted to an older demographic, right? The dark fantasy, all of that. So you start to think about the buyer pool and how buyer pools age up financially. That buyer pool that was into vintage Magic are probably in their, average 40s at this point, a good chunk of them. Whereas Pokemon, a lot of them are more coming into their high earning years now. And so you start to get to the point where like you're in your 30s, maybe you're just having kids or haven't had kids yet, you got disposable income, maybe you're dinks, whatever, and you're out there spending money. When you're in your 40s, life starts to look a little different, right? You're probably 2 or beyond, around the halfway point. You're starting to look at like, how do I want to use my money long term, different things like that.
Bad timing when my birthday's coming up, big dog. Chill out.
Maybe Magic just isn't as high of a priority. It's interesting. I look at this because I think about it, and when I think of Magic and vintage buyers, I think that they're generally about 10 years older than Pokemon. Like that's just mentally, I have no data to back that up. But that's just how I've always thought about it. And I want to say this. If we start to see, you said it's flat. If it stays flat or starts to decline, is Magic a window into what Pokemon could be?
Exactly what I was going to say.
10 years later.
Because it's
does
always been
Pokemon's acquisition funnel keep it going? It's hard to know.
We've always treated it that way, I feel like. I mean, I have at least. I mean, years ago, especially, it was, what's Big Brother Magic doing? I would compare high-end Pokemon to high-end Magic to see the trajectory. Is this the window into what we have in store for Pokemon? At least vintage Pokemon, right?
I don't know. Pokemon has already closed the gap so much on vintage Magic. I just don't even think it's.
Well, they're chasing sports now.
So much more broader appeal than Magic, I think.
Well, but it's a really interesting point, Mason, because vintage Magic for the longest time was the peak of TCG. Then Pokemon did catch it, and for the longest time it was, could Pokemon catch it? Would it ever catch it? Then Charizard did. Then we saw some of the trophies do it. Illustrator did it, etc. Now tons of things had it. The average Pokemon card is more expensive than the average Magic card just across the board. Is that because vintage just peaked? Is it because Pokemon exploded and has a wider base? Is it a combination of both? And, we have to ask those questions, because if we can if Pokemon ends up following the same trajectory, is there going to be a threshold where Pokemon peaks? And then that's it, right? I think everyone.
And we're talking vintage. We're talking vintage Pokemon too.
Vintage, I think. And we've already, other than First Ed Charizard, a lot of vintage stuff, like pre-EX era, hasn't really had a massive run in this boom, right? A lot of the old First Ed stuff, a lot of the Shadowless stuff from base, a lot of those things that people thought would run up, haven't had their big catastrophic growth like what they had during COVID.
Right.
And a lot of people are asking why. Well, why is it that you're seeing Infinity Stones go for $35,000 to $60,000 in Magic, which are now starting to rival Alpha Lotuses? Right?
That much now? I thought those were $10,000 cards. Those are $30,000 now. Those Infinity Stones?
I'm pretty sure there were like multiple $30,000+ sales of Infinity Stones. And so that's the issue, is that is it interest is shifting? And interest says, I don't really care about the old stuff as much as I care about the new current relevant stuff.
It's just sad, man.
That shift happened in Pokemon, right? We see all the time.
I'm not a big Magic guy. I love it, but I'm not collecting Magic like crazy. But it's the grandfather of TCG. It's what started it, and the Lotus is it.
That's Alpha Lotus
do you care?
I care.
Okay, but let me ask you this. So
I care.
One of the things I own is a first print, first impression. It's a paperback of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, because I love Harry Potter. Grew up with it.
Incredible.
I don't care to go buy some of the first books because they were the grandfather books of printing. I don't need a Gutenberg.
That's not the same.
You say it's not, but it is. It's collecting of a niche. It's a book collector versus a TCG collector.
I don't.
That Harry Potter book is not bound by the same creator that created the first books. Wizards is the company that was printing the stuff.
Yeah, Jesus Christ and the 12 disciples did not write Harry Potter. They wrote the Bible.
Yeah, I guess for me, I like to try to use vintage Magic to see what could happen with vintage Pokemon, modern Magic with modern Pokemon, and I know they're not one-to-one comparables, but it is an interesting level off that we've seen here. And I do believe someday we're going to see a level off with Pokemon. I think we're going to see segments that just kind of hit a peak and they don't hit a peak again. I think it's irrational to think something goes up forever. I do.
Oh,
and so
fair.
I just, I start to think about those 10-year gaps.
Pokemon's got 10 years, guys. Squeak said it here.
Yeah, you heard it here first. It's all over in 10.
Yeah. I just think it's sad that a Snap Squirtle in a 6 is more expensive than the most coveted Magic card ever created.
Okay, well, to be fair, there's supposed to be 15 or 20 Squirtles, I forget which is which, and there's 1,100.
Alpha
Not a million.
Lotuses,
No, there's
so-
11.
There's definitely not a million Lotuses.
There's
but-
1,100 that were printed or supposedly printed. So many got destroyed. So many are gone. There's probably
Okay,
half.
well,
So yeah, you're dealing with different numbers here.
a
but
magnitude of scale larger for
But
Alpha
but
Lotus.
it is an interesting, thought-provoking topic. I would love for you guys out there, tell us, what do you think? Do you guys think vintage Magic is just in a stable period but going to run later? Do you think that this is kind of the peak of vintage Magic? Do you think Pokemon could end up going through this cycle in our lifetimes? I think there's a lot of people, if you were to poll them, would say it won't happen in our lifetimes. That Pokemon will go through these ebb and flows, but the trajectory will be up throughout our whole lives.
I mean, yeah, as a whole probably, but taking the niche vintage side of things, probably not, because you get it wanes.
Like
You
the over the
the-
glasses. It's
the,
just
the new generation is in the Pokemon, right? I mean, Moonbreon to the moon when in 25 years when those kids have money. So
Ultra
this was
Evolving
fair.
Skies.
this was shocking here.
The Alpha
That's not
Lotus is not the niche, by the way. It is
No,
literally the Magic card.
Yeah,
And we
right.
haven't seen
It's-
Charizard in an 8 yet beat this. So
no. So it's still like the PSA 10 Alpha Lotus, I think, is over $1 million. Like a CGC Pristine 10 sold for $3 million privately. So Magic's still like the king of Magic, still being the king of Pokemon. So
Man,
Pokemon hasn't
The
gotten there yet.
CGC gap on Alpha Lotus is apparently really, really high. Jeez,
Yeah.
Listen, if I had an Alpha
about-
Lotus, I'd grade it with CGC. Let me tell you.
it's like 5% there.
I mean, it's it's so hard to get a 10. I don't think they really deserve 10s, but the grading scale is different when you're looking at these cards because of
well, and
quality.
CGC takes into account the alpha corners and everything
Yeah.
like that, where so that also plays a part as well. But
Okay,
yeah, we can
Japanese
continue
base
on, though.
box, please. 75 Bandinis. What?
Nice. That's crazy.
That's high, dude. That's over
There's
1,000.
the power
a
of
pack.
sealed, man.
That's
Power of sealed.
That's like
what is
that's like
I
1,200 a pack.
I bought two of these back in 2014, 2015 for
Around
800
there.
a piece.
You
$800.
still have them, right?
No.
He definitely opened them. He
Sold
dumped
one.
all of them.
I
Open them?
No, I sold one to PokeRev for $2,000.
Okay.
And then I sold the other one for, I don't know, like it had to be like close to 10. So
That one wasn't a Lee, was it? That was the Neo box.
No, that was a different
Yeah,
one.
I remember that one. Anyways,
Shocking.
what else do we got?
Rip,
I-
dude. Why do we sell too
What about
early? Hey,
legendary
Radar,
collect?
why do
We can talk
sell
about the
early?
tops on this card. So freaking boring. It is double what it crashed to, though, right?
It's something like around there, yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But this one is crazy.
The super yellow, super orange legendary collection Charizard. I don't know if the scan was bad or what, but this is about the same price. This is what it's been going for.
This is awesome, dude. Dude, you used to be able to buy a 10 set of this for like $15K. Now I know that's a long time ago, but like,
Okay. Pepper's
What's a
Farm
10 set of this
remembers, but I
today?
don't remember. God bless.
what do you think a 10 set of this goes for today? A full legendary collection.
How many
110 cards?
How many cards is that?
110
110.
reverse hollow.
Average price of
Who knows?
$5,000, maybe. It's $500,000, $550,000.
That would be sweet to see that. Rusty, auction one off so we can see what
Yeah.
it would go for.
Yeah, Rusty, do you mind?
Can you please
Yeah,
just
do you
help us
mind,
out?
Rusty,
Let us
auctioning
see
one
what
of these
happens.
for us?
Catch a
And
dog.
Roll the dice there. See what happens.
one of these days, man, I'm pulling out. I'm gonna have it. I don't know where it's gonna come from, when I'm gonna get it, but I'm pulling out a reverse hollow legendary collection sheet. It's gonna happen.
Dude, don't eat. John knows
Ayo.
this is like
This is both
Ancient New
parts.
Sheet
He's
was my
just
number
teasing
one
him.
grail, but Legendary Collector Reverse Hollow is like a very close number two. Like
That's my
is
number
the-
one. That's my number.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people
Well,
that
no.
sheet would be.
First edition base set hollow sheets number one. Then legendary.
Do you think? So we just saw that base unlimited sheet up there went for over 100K, right?
106 or whatever.
106. Do you think a Legendary Collector Reverse Hollow sheet would beat it?
Yes. Yes, no question.
Interesting. All right.
I think it would easily double.
100%.
It's so crazy that we haven't seen one.
Could you imagine how cool it would look in certain lighting? And
Oh my god, dude! Don't even get me started on this. Anyway,
Ugh.
yeah, I've thought about it.
Really don't get
Way
me
too
started.
many hours.
Yeah.
All
Way
right,
too
let's
many.
keep
This-
going.
37 and a half for
This
PSA
was
8.
so this was kind of like there were a lot of people that said 9 sold for 60K or whatever during COVID, but most of them sold between 30 and 40. So it looks
Okay,
like now for this run up, 8s have pretty much got.
I'm cutting you off. I did not even see this and didn't realize this sheet.
Did it have the Ivy Pikachu on it?
Yeah.
Isn't
What?
that so cool? So for anyone out there
Oh,
that doesn't know,
that's cool.
The Ivy Pikachu was never supposed to have a first edition
Yeah.
stamp.
Promos
It
don't have
was-
first eds.
It was a promo,
What?
and yet there are some out there that got it. And for the longest time, people didn't know how they got it. Right here is your answer. There's a
Dude.
first edition Ivy Pikachu on this sheet of Jungle. It's Jungle Uncommons, and the Pikachu promo's printed on there. We've seen before that they've printed promos up in the corner of other sheets, like we saw the Clefable and the Raichu are on the sheet with the is it starter deck foils?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is sweet. This is like
That's
a
cool.
real
I've never
piece of
seen
history
this.
here.
I
Yeah.
I hope
that.
Rusty won this, because the 40 grand is a lot of money, but I think totally worth it for something this crazy.
Yeah.
I did not even realize that when we looked at this. So
Yeah, absolutely love
congrats
that
to
card.
whoever won this. That is epic.
Yeah, super cool sheet. That one's awesome.
I don't know
And
how they get back now.
look at all the sheets that we're starting to see hit these big numbers.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest time, sheets were kind of like, whatever, you know, look at that. Chinese Unlimited.
Jesus. And it's sun faded?
32,500.
Yeah, it's unfaded. Yeah. I've got Chinese Machamp sheet hanging up. Anybody want that for 30 grand? It's yours.
There you go.
Hit the DMs, folks.
So yeah, we see more of these trainers come through. We've got more sealed base box at 32.
Base got to, in COVID, unlimited base got to like 45, I think was the high.
That seems
So we're creeping back up.
Getting up there.
we're close.
We talked about the CGC of this one being sold for what, like 12K on Golden. So not bad there.
Yeah.
Boxes
That's a
are
7, by the way, at 25,000 for Charizard.
Oh, what a world.
These are starting to get to the point where I don't think we're far away from seeing low grades. 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s eclipse 10.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if it'll happen in this run, but I think
this went low. This is a
what is that, Top Sun box?
This is the Top Sun box. So there's,
Ew.
I think, 20 packs in this thing.
Jeez.
You know, well, maybe not so low.
the proposal, by the way, the
pretty
invitation book that we spent, let's not click it and have to blur it out and everything, but we talked a lot about this card before on last week. If you guys didn't see it, go back to last week's episode. We talked about it. It's not the actual card, it's the wedding book with a photocopy of it. 16.8K.
16
That's
bands.
pretty respectable for it. That's
Yeah,
Somebody got duped, bro. Somebody got duped.
I asked around for my contacts on this, and I do know people who have this card apparently. So I need to go see it if I ever can.
That's interesting. So I think though at 16.8K, it's pretty definitive. If that card ever comes up, almost surely a 6-digit card.
Yeah,
like,
easily. I don't think anyone would ever sell it just out of respect. It seems like, but selling the invite definitely seems doable.
So
Sean, did you win?
I did not win. I actually forgot about it, which is terrible. And here's the thing. I don't know if I would have spent 12.5K. I probably would have. Granted, I wouldn't have gotten it. I would have had to bid one higher. But I think this is a great price. Whoever won this should feel really good about this. I think this is a good example of where I don't think this card ever goes for 26K again, like what we saw happen during COVID. We've just seen too many other interesting cards like this come out. Whereas when this sold previously, this was kind of like the card if you wanted like an heir. Whereas now we've seen the Magic cards with the Pokemon fronts printed over them. We've seen the Magic fronts with the Pokemon backs on the sheet. Like there's been a lot of stuff that's come out like that, to where this just doesn't have the mystique that it once had. But for us old timers that have been around for a while, this is still one of those cool pieces of history. So whoever got this, I think you're going to enjoy it. I think this is a great card, and hopefully you can make an attempt at trying to complete the set. If you can get the Arcanine, you've already checked off the 2 hardest ones. Yeah, I know who owns it.
There's like this whole subset now of Magic Pokemon things people can go after, which is really cool. So not bad.
We talked about earlier, Alpha versus First Ed, and like the history of it was the first. This is kind of like that crossover that's really neat, where you see that intersection of Wizards bringing in Pokemon and printing that as they were printing Magic at the same time, and how these things could happen. So yeah, super cool. And then this is when we start to kind of just get into the more stuff that we see more frequently. I did think that card sheet, this one's pretty interesting to me, the test sheet, just because it just looks like a lot of color bars, and then card backs. So
lame.
It's an odd sheet to want in terms of display and everything, but it's there's a lot of interesting data you could probably dissect from this, because you could still get like one of those color readers and read these color bars. So
what's that pin right there? What's that? Is that we got a sketch card? We got a sketch sheet?
No, these are probably all notes that were taken during the process. Yeah, but an interesting sheet.
This is
not a sheet.
This
that you
is
see
just
very
a doodle.
often.
Yeah, Ishihara was bored and doodled.
Oh yeah. But yeah, super interesting sheet. 10K, a little higher than what I thought it would. I actually thought this would be the lowest performing one.
Yawn, dude.
Look, it's unique. I mean, the thing is, it just seems like, I know the writing says Wizards and everything, but you could just get the same thing from a New Age sheet with the Pokemon back. And
for me, the hardest part is when I think about sheets, I think about display value, and it's just like I just don't know that this one's going to have that level.
This is for
I could see a museum.
It's no Ancient Mew. Tell you what.
Yeah. Nah. Well, they can't all be Ancient Mew. Okay?
Ancient Mew's at least 12K.
At least 12.
If you've got a near mint Ancient Mew sheet out there for 12K,
We'll snap your hand off for 15.
I do want to call these ones out. There were 2 fossil sheets, and they actually ended a decent gap apart. This one went for 9,300, which seems really high to me.
It's got to be conditioned. Well, so I picked up a sheet a few months ago when they had 6 of them in the same auction. and they were
Yeah.
all sold for like $6,000.
Yeah, but the interesting part is this one came in the original box.
Which one did? The $9,000 one?
The one that you're looking at there, the 7,500. So
See,
there's
that's
$1,600 gap.
I bought one in the original box too.
Okay.
This is cooler because someone wrote Pokemon on it. Just for whatever reason, but I've got one of these boxes with the KB
Sure.
Toys label and everything. I thought that was cool.
It's possible that other sheet is not a KB Toys fossil. If it's
this
an
is
actual
4.6.
production fossil, that would explain the gap. But regardless, 7,500 for a baseline fossil sheet. Great growth on those.
There was
But,
this one too.
really
This
great
weird proof.
Proof back sheet. Yeah, pretty interesting. But for the most part, that's the Heritage auction. A lot of the other cards, you can go to Heritage and see the end results. A lot of the other cards.
No,
are
how
stuff
do
that you
Elottie
would-
do? How do you how?
Oh yeah, we did want to look
how
at the E-Lottery Charizard.
That's
Sorry,
all I
I'm
care
looking.
about.
You can't even see if it's my fossil sheet. I think is production that I have, and they cut the bottom off. You can't see if it says KB Toys or not. E Lottie Boy.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
and
we did talk about the
and
clock last time. We had said around 6,000 was the last sale. It went for 5 here. Still fine, respectable sale.
I feel like Nick said he would have. He's like, oh, I wish I would have known. I would have bought that.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
Again,
6,250. I think this is right in line
Ooh.
with what they've been at. 6,250.
Dang,
Under-
shit.
Under this Gengar web promo,
Under the
that's
web,
crazy.
Gengar is so tragic.
Gengar
bro.
tax is nuts.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gengar is nuts.
Anyways,
Enough of
that was it.
this.
Sorry.
That's
Really
where we're
cool.
at. That was the auction. I think some really strong sales on Pokemon's side. I think Magic kind of flat, but overall an interesting auction. If you guys, if there was anything in that auction you guys thought was interesting or wanted to hear us talk about that we didn't, feel free to let us know in the comment section below. We're happy to cover anything that we didn't that you guys thought was, out of the ordinary. I know we didn't cover as many of the modern cards like the Lovebirds and things like that. It's just there's so much content made around that stuff that it kind of, feels like we're just beating a dead horse. Whereas, we've got resident expert high-end John over here, so we might as well touch on some of that bigger stuff.
If you want to know what's going on with the birds, just watch Alex catch them. And
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, don't watch him because he doesn't pull them. Hey!
Got him.
Yeah, no, you need to go watch Deep Pocket
Oof.
Monster. He pulled them. But anyways, John knows about that stuff.
Yeah, right,
What John
Alex.
clearly doesn't know about is sealed product because John said that there was going to be massive waves of sealed product coming in for the holidays.
There is.
And yet we're starting to see allocation numbers for Heroes Ascension. And those aren't good, but
Have
we're also
you-
starting to see other numbers come in for
Clearly-
the holidays. And
clearly
those
you're
aren't
not
good, and some
watching-
of us don't even have numbers coming in. So
Clearly, you're not watching Cardinal Gaming. Mason, would you like to fill Squeaks in on
yes,
your
fill me
thoughts
in
on
because right now I'm
Phantasmal?
not feeling the product,
Fill him in on
So-
Phantasmal Flames here.
Yeah, Phantasmal Flames, we got wave 2, and it was.
which was
I'm
expected.
actually surprised it held as good as it did. I thought we were heading to 200, but
Which we
Didn't
might,
close.
right? Mega didn't go to 200 right away, but now it's
TCG
starting to
players
get
at
there.
what? 215.
still holding good. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that it's. I mean, I hope it's just the holidays, probably propping it up a little bit. Mega UPCs as well, holding strong. Again, I think they're right at 250-ish, which is still double MSRP. So
Wait, for which
where's
one?
all this product? Where is it?
Wait, which
Wait,
UPCs are 250?
What's 250? Charizard?
The Phantasmal Flames one.
No,
it's not.
Charizard's like 175.
Oh,
Yeah, Charizard's
Yeah,
not.
he's not holding as well, but I mean, still, we're talking about a box that's like what,
yeah,
90
yeah.
bucks retail or something.
I mean,
So-
I've seen
120.
I've seen a lot more product in the hands of people that go to Walmarts and go to Targets and go to the big box, at least on Instagram, right? These guys taking pictures of, I found stuff at Target today. So I saw a lot more of that. I think there is a lot more product out there, but it's just getting soaked up. I think it's
not
there.
to make a dent. It's really not. Like I have on a ticket, I have prismatic mini tins and I have 151 mini tins. Like what? I'm getting 151 in
Today?
2025, let alone.
well, in mini
Somebody
tins
found
of
a
all
box.
things, right? You
I
think about
hate
in
mini
terms
tins,
of like
by the way.
what's
Yeah, I never
easiest
saw
for
them.
them to
I would try
produce. Mini tins should be some of the hardest things for them to
That
produce.
definitely was not produced. That was found in a warehouse.
Bro, can
It
we
makes
get
it the lucky
continue?
benefactor and just spoil it
That-
for everyone out
Yeah,
there.
that was a.
I sure don't have
distributor holding
151
on.
mini
That was-
tins on a ticket right now.
That'd be
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's crazy.
Oh,
Anyways,
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Now you're LGS.
It's crazy. I don't own 2 physical stores.
How many did you get?
one case.
Yeah,
So-
okay, yeah, that's
okay.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
Yeah,
feel-
somebody
Wow.
that the distributor found a pallet and they offered.
Nope,
it.
you heard it here first, everybody. Get your pitchforks. Yeah.
No,
No,
But
but
it says the price for it, and it's like, oh,
They
MSRP
are-
is $99, and it's like I'm paying almost 1.5 times that. Cool, thank you, Bistro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no
it's-
chance they're printing 151 right now. They're
No,
still
absolutely
they're
not.
catching up on so much other stuff.
Where would they have printed that? There's nowhere in the window where they were printing 151 this year.
They're it's delayed shipments, it's delayed logistics, it's
Yeah,
it's a
it's-
pallet in the back of the warehouse they forgot about or kept on purpose or whatever. But yeah,
But it is interesting. I want to bring up to you guys. We all thought in some capacity more product would be coming. When I say more product, I mean more product that wasn't announced, right? Wave 2 of Phantasmal, we were told was going to be something that was coming at some point. Yes, there's the occasional little drips out. Every once in a while, yes, it seems like big box stores get some product. Although every time I've went into my local box store, the shelves have been absolutely cleaned out every single time. every once in a while I go to CVS and they have like those battle decks or whatever on the shelf. But other than that, we had anticipated that product would be coming. And I think part of that's because historically, every time there's been a big boom, then there's a product drought. Eventually, the floodgates open. Some supply comes in. It just doesn't seem like it's happening this time. Even if we go all the way back to like early Scarlet and Violet, when it felt like it was flooded, it felt like we turned that corner where products started to dry up for sets. And it's just felt like that way ever since. And it doesn't just feel like it in this game, right? One Piece having the same problems. We're seeing that issue in certain other games with their products. And part of that we know is like supply chain things and printer capacity and stuff like that. I know Magic with Universes Beyond had additional product come in for like Spider-Man play boosters eventually. And I think Avatar might have also gotten a little bit of a restock. But for the most part, we're seeing this across the board. This is not just a Pokemon exclusive issue. Is this just the new norm? Is this the norm that we live in now?
I think I need to start a printing company. It's
John's always starting a new company. So if you want to get in on John's printer services,
it's just like, I think the product came. Like, I think I was right. I just think that the demand is so absurd still that it all got soaked up.
I think it's just they're not able to print anything at any sort of numbers that make sense to make a dent in
Reasonable
I
capacity.
really just think they're like, hey, we have a 3-week gap here before we have to print the next thing. All right, let's print a prismatic again, or something like that. I really don't think it's like, hey, we're gonna shimmy all these things around to make sure that we get every set from Surging Sparks on is gonna get a reprint. No, it's not gonna be that. And we're already inching closer and closer to rotation.
Rotation's
all the way up to
happening.
Paradox Rift. So that's going to be rotating out.
Really?
Normally say stuff that's out of standard rotation is pretty much safe from being reprinted ever again. Not always the case, but it's, a general rule of thumb. And then it's like, okay, how far back, if you wanted to reprint, how far do you go? Like, what are we going to do? Black and White ever get printed again?
Twilight
It's hard.
Masquerade.
Twilight Masquerade,
That's-
was that ever going to print
Twilight
again?
already had a low print run
Mason,
initially, right? Like
yeah.
that would be one of the ones that I would have thought would have seen it. Kind of like what we saw with Ultra Prism, where it didn't get booster boxes, but they did those weird like 3-pack bundles.
They
or
did
whatever it was.
Twilight with ETBs. They didn't hit it with booster boxes. Is the problem?
Right.
Yeah, which is also interesting that they did ETBs because that's usually one of the things that like generally doesn't get reprints
Well,
nearly as much as
Yeah,
everything else.
here
That's
recently
not
they've
a
been doing
thing.
it in ETBs more recently. I don't know why,
That is-
because there's so
that's
much
an
junk with
old
it, but
thing.
unless
That
they
is
have,
true
packs
because like
sitting
last
around,
Black
maybe.
Friday, all the deals were ETBs too.
I think ETBs are something that present the best in big box, and they're probably asking for more. I think that,
And we saw
LGSs
Brit Stars ETBs forever.
Yeah, and
when they reprinted that.
LGSs have been asking for booster boxes more and more, so maybe we'll see a wave of those hit us in
Doubt it.
Q1 or something. Just to, like these planning stages are very, very spread out for a company like Pokemon, right? It's not what are we doing next quarter? It's what we're doing 2 years from now. So, but
If not further.
if not further. So, but they are listening. They are looking at, they have their own numbers. They have their own, things they look at. And I'd imagine that the uproar of wanting more booster boxes may have hit that point. Maybe we'll see an influx of booster boxes.
No,
soon.
we're getting more mini tins is the problem. I don't
Well, and-
want these.
Okay,
stupid
not correct on the mini
tins,
tin, but
bro.
like maybe they don't want it to be booster boxes.
Yeah.
I've been a proponent now for a while that booster boxes are becoming a premium product. That the secondary market or gray market price of those is just getting too high, too cost prohibitive for the average consumer. Where things like ETBs, even when they spike
That's
up,
why the
they're
bundles
$80 to
are
$100. That's
Mhm.
much more accessible for the average person. And then when they can find them
For
at
the-
retail, it's $40. We
For
saw
the end
them.
consumer, for them to be able to sell it to like big box as well, you have a lot bigger buyer pool all the way through the chain for non-booster
Yeah.
box products.
Those
Well, we've
bundles,
seen
I
them
think
tinker
bundles
around
are
with half boxes. We saw that on Black and White in Europe,
Oh,
I believe
yeah.
it was, that they did the
Yeah.
18.
They
pack
still
stuff.
have them in every set for.
They've been
They
doing
did
that
that
in Europe.
Yeah, and so that's an interesting like that's almost like them recognizing that like booster boxes themselves are starting to get to that echelon where it is cost prohibitive. They are more expensive, and treating them like a premium product. They're going to go through their waves. That's it, and we'll find other ways to get the packs out there the same way they always have tins, collection boxes, things
Yeah,
like that.
if they really went nuts on booster boxes though and got rid of that sentiment of it being the premium product, it is the cheapest way to get packs into players' hands, collectors' hands, stores' hands. It is the
But
cheapest.
do they
way.
want
But
to
it's
get rid of
not.
that
Yeah,
sentiment?
they don't
I-
make the same amount of money making booster boxes as they would with big giant goofy
Right.
boxes.
And they don't get as much marketing and placement with booster boxes as they do as
Right,
a
yeah.
collection box. That's
Correct. So yeah,
the
that's why we get
politics
seen
of the hobby, dude.
So, so to round this out, do you guys think we see this change in Q1 or Q2 of next year?
I mean, clearly we're not seeing it with the
No.
Senate Heroes.
Yeah.
I'm getting 63 ETBs, y'all. 63.
Don't you get like a
Mason's
couple
about to get
hundred now?
absolutely
co-
cooked in the comments
compared
because
to
for
what,
most
Mason?
stores they're getting significantly less than that.
I'm gonna get
Compared
like
to
one.
like 250 I normally get from a standard set.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. That's
Also
That is
about
a
to get cooked
huge
for that. So
No, look,
That's
those are
25%.
numbers.
folks.
Those numbers
I
are
know,
something
hold-
to look to achieve.
Like, it's
but
not
they're
a small
also-
amount.
it's all-
And this is not going to be in a wave, as far as I know. It's going to be, we'll probably get more, but there's not like a guaranteed release down the road from the ETBs because it's a staggered release anyways. So it's not like they're going to make them,
I hate that because Mason's going to get hit with the next order of them at 3 times the cost.
That's like, what am I supposed to do with 63 ETBs? Like, what can I do with that?
You can pay a couple of your employees, not everyone, but
yeah, that sucks.
That's terrible. I think Q3, Sean. I don't know about Q1, Q2. Q3.
Which, to be fair, is what John told me earlier this year. He was convinced that Q3 was was where it was going to all be fixed, and here we are now. Q3.
I was very smart about not saying the year. But
yeah,
one of these Q3s will eventually it will fix, right?
30th anniversary is hitting at Q3 of the next year, so that ain't happening. Sorry.
Get wrecked, Johnny boy.
I guess we're done for.
Well, you heard it here first.
We're done for.
Heroes doesn't sound like it's going to be much better, according to Mason. So if it is way better, that's Mason's fault. If it isn't better, that's still Mason's fault.
If it's way better, it's not getting to me. It's not getting any better for me.
Look at him. He's trying to deflect now. Guys, it's not good for me. I know it's horrible for you, but it's still really bad.
Anybody that wants to complain about what Mason said, open up a store and good luck.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree with that. I
actually, he would recommend you not do that. I think if you ask.
Well, no, I'm saying
I have 2 stores.
Anyone complaining that if you want to get 50, 60
Correct. Everyone
ETBs,
thinks it's easy until they've done it, and then they're like, "Man, you know what? You can keep them 62 ETBs because I'm not opening this store." Well, and like 62 ETBs after what 10 years or something of being open. How long has Cardinal been open?
Buying from distro 8 years. Yeah,
8 years. It's taken to get an allocation of 62 ETBs.
He's building up, folks. Watch out.
Well, that's the thing. People will like open a store
and
go to distro and be like,
someday.
I only got 3 ETBs, and it's like, okay, yeah, you've been open for 3 months. Like that of course, you and 800 other stores that just opened up the last 6 months.
Really pointed at John right there. Okay.
No, John's actually had distribution for some time now. So
I've had distro for 6 years, but it's gotten significantly lower and lower and lower because I've only been a ecom.
He's a diamond handser, Mace. You don't.
But
yeah, they're fleeting us e-commerce out, which is fine. I get it. I totally understand.
Oh, no, Mason, I'll show you my invoices. They're not anything special. So even back then, because like I would buy like 6-7 cases of the stuff that came in, but I wouldn't sell a single thing.
He doesn't sell. He's diamond hands, gang.
Yeah.
For anybody that actually cares, 63 ETBs. If I sold it at MSRP, I would only be making $1,800. Just so everybody's aware of like how much money like that one little drop is going to make me on a typical like release. If I sold it at MSRP, that's how much I'd be making.
And
that's if you sell it for 2 weeks.
And if you sell at market price, it's only twice that. So it's not that big.
It's only 4x that. Yeah. So I get to pay for 4 employees then.
Wow.
It's crazy.
For 2 weeks, not for the whole year. So
unbelievable.
Great. All right. Let's get to our greatest segment.
Sorry, Mason. Sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's all right, Mason. Let's all pour one out for Mason. Yeah, here.
All right. We're moving on.
All right. Centered. John's ready. All right, John's ready. He's ready. All right. Ooh, nice Pokemon glass. Centered or off-centered? You all know the rules of the game. I'm going to give each of them a take, and they're going to tell me whether that's a centered take or an off-centered take, and then we'll discuss it from there. We're going to start with Pokemon will announce a Pokemon Center store opening in the U.S. during Worlds this year. Or next year. So like when Worlds is announced, they're going to announce a Pokemon Center store that's going to be in the United States of America.
Like a permanent one?
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of like what they did in the 2000s.
John, you're so silly.
I think it's time.
We know you want promos.
I want it.
You want it.
I want it.
We know you
I
want
want
another
it.
Toys R Us. Okay, we get it.
I want it so bad.
But it's not happening. Stop trying to make fetch happen, John.
I think they'll do something. It might not be this extravagant Pokemon Center, but they will open up some sort of. They're doing the vending machines. They got Pokemon vending machines all over. They're doing.
Those are their mobile. Pokemon
they're taking
centers,
steps.
buddy.
They're taking steps.
Here's what I will say. In John's defense, because I agree with Mason and Thrifty, I don't think it's going to happen. But in John's defense, you look at other games and what they're doing and what's successful for them. Bandai with One Piece and opening up their stores, and they've opened up even more, and they're continuing to open them because they are seeing success with it. It does give them a place to supply product, gives them a place to supply product that they know it's going to be handled well. Like, for example, in One Piece right now, they cut all the seals on the boxes, which really deters people from selling them on the secondary market. Yeah, we, it gives people, like, if they wanted to expand that into places to play, to host small events, things like that. I don't know that Pokemon is going to go down that route, but I could see that there is a justification. I can also say, though, earlier I had mentioned how sometimes with like speculating, investing, buying, collecting. People buy based on what they wish would happen instead of what will actually happen or normal sentiment. I think this is a great example of where John is voting based on what he wants to happen, not what is the highest probability of occurring.
Also, he's seen the best of it. He's been to Japan. He's seen the good stuff, and it works there because it's literally a massive like tourist attraction. Basically, each one of them is its own touristy spot. Like, but here we don't really have a central place where you can put it, where it's like reasonable and like you need real estate, you need manpower, you need like a good hiring, like you need reliable people, which is like literally doesn't exist. Ask me.
New York is a great spot for it where they had it before. The problem is real estate and rent has gotten so expensive.
I don't think
York,
they care about that.
Can't justify it.
They have more money than God. I don't think they care about that.
Yeah.
I think we
could
could.
just,
Look
make
at
the
Nintendo.
Nintendo store. They could just like put the bottom level of Nintendo store and make that into a Pokemon.
Well, and that's what
like,
the Nintendo store used to be, the Pokemon store
in New York, and they
I'm
opened
just
one.
surprised they haven't. Kind of.
Well, they opened one in San Francisco this year too, the Nintendo store. So Nintendo is expanding branding. It's like Pokemon, they're doing their part.
But they don't have
doing all this
any
other
cards
stuff.
in the Nintendo store. Literally, you go to New York, you can't even buy a pack of cards in Nintendo store.
No,
like,
they
why?
just have merch
Like,
and plushies.
I think why open a store to have just bare
I wonder if they
walls?
changed that.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. It's like, why open LGS if you're just going to have bare walls and no product? Like, it's not.
Well, because they sell tons of other merch though.
Of course,
it's
but
all sold out too. Like, what merch?
Nintendo World?
Well, Nintendo World has
World
a ton.
every year sells all their merch. It's all gone. Every
Oh, you're talking about Pokemon
every
World. Sorry.
lanyard,
I was talking
every
about Nintendo
plushie.
World. I was like, dude, they've got all kinds of like plushies and
Oh,
t-shirts
well,
and stuff.
yeah,
Like that.
but they have that all Universal's now, so Universal has all their stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they could just have endless amounts of sitting cuties and whatever else they're doing. It's fine.
They can't even keep those in stock.
But if okay, so
like
we're talking
a bunch of
two
Ferris
different
wheels on
ideas.
your-
One is opening a store. One is like hybriding Nintendo World.
Mhm.
Do you want to hybrid Nintendo World
No.
if you're them? It almost creates too many problems, right?
Yeah.
Like for
It's
a
just a
tourist that
place
like
they
doesn't
already
care about
have.
Pokemon, that store is going to be miserable then if it's Pokemon and scalpers all over the place.
It's
and,
going to
like,
hurt the other brands in there. Like Nintendo knows what they're doing. I think Pokemon is taking baby steps again, to entering the U.S. and having branding physical locations. And I love your point, Sean, on One Piece. I think what they're doing is really smart. So,
and if you guys haven't looked at what One Piece is doing with
The
their
Bandai
stores,
stores
it is
are cool,
really
like-
interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they
If-
did it
if- if
before, but
If Pokemon needs one thing, it's convert more collectors, more people into players. Like,
You just want to be careful,
That's
right?
tough.
If you're Pokemon, because you don't want to step on the toes of your LGS, right?
Yeah.
The LGS has been the backbone of Pokemon since literally the early
Yeah, they
Wizard
don't
days.
care.
They're
they're already
too-
they're stepping on.
I believe they care. I do
They're
believe they
corks,
care. I
dude.
know sometimes some of the decisions they make feel
They're
counterintuitive to the
they're
LGS.
stomping on toes right now, like I stomp on cards to crack them.
I do believe though that they care about the ecosystem and that they understand the value that those stores bring, and I would venture to guess that that's probably one of the biggest factors as to why they haven't done it. But they have partnerships through GameStops, right? Who are also like becoming pseudo LGSs. So you almost like, are they just going to go that route where they we'll give you
They
special
just
promo
convert.
cards, we'll give you special things, where they
They're
almost
already doing
function
it
like a
with the-
Pokemon Center.
they're doing
Yeah.
it with GameStop already with the GameStop stamp promos and stuff like that. Best
Exactly.
Buy stamp
Yep.
promos.
And they did the thank you Hydreigon. They've gotten special promos. They've gotten special collection boxes. So they're almost treating GameStop like their stores in that regard, and saves them a lot on retail or on like infrastructure costs, real estate costs.
But they
things like
could just
that.
make their website better. Literally, they could just make their website better and more accessible and like store stuff on there, and then they don't have to do any of that stuff.
But that's always going to be subject to scalpers and botters, and people are always like, no, because
Get
you can implement this thing
better.
and this thing and this thing. I promise you, the people on the internet that want to make
If they
money
have
will
to,
work
Look,
harder than the
good.
average person always. The more barriers.
Make them work harder is what I'm saying.
It's
Make
not
them
about.
work
Turkey,
harder.
you're not understanding what I'm saying. I
It's
am
not about
saying-
making money anymore.
If you make more barriers to entry, they will just win harder because they
Yes.
will be more dedicated with more resources
guess.
than Timmy that just wants to get quantity one. I
And
promise
this
you.
I don't even
Pokemon
wait in
is
the line
Pokemon
anymore.
is a lifestyle company now. Like
Mm.
they have made enough money. They've hit the peak of branding. They're just integrating Pokemon into everyone's life now, like everyday life. With
If they really
sleep.
wanted to make it really hard to carry product, you should just make people open LGSs. Oh wait,
Oh wait. Hmm.
All right.
Yeah, but then when you go through downtimes, that model starts to
They
struggle.
make it really hard. They make it even harder.
Then it gets really hard. Yeah,
in
because most of
booms,
those
if you're
LGSs
losing,
go out of
in
business.
downtime you're
so-
losing. That's crazy.
I love losing, dude. I should open.
The only way to
LGS
win
too.
is to buy and hold. Maybe that should be an OC All right. Next.
That's what the last guy holding the bag said too. Anyways, all right, centered or off-centered. Pokemon doing a Topps Chrome style set in 2026 for the anniversary would change the hobby forever.
Oh, well, that's different than what was written, but
No, that is actually word for word for what John wrote, everyone. John literally wrote,
Sorry, that was
a top
that was-
Chrome style set in 2026 would change the
That-
hobby forever.
okay. That was Chat GPT. That's I don't like this question.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
redo this.
John just outed himself for Chat GPT after I told him not to use
Don't
Chat
chat
GPT.
The prompt-
everybody.
podcast, folks.
The prompt.
Here,
it
let me,
squeaks.
your host who normally does the script, actually give you a centered or off-centered. Pokemon is going to do a Topps Chrome set in 2026, for the anniversary.
Oh, that's a way easier question.
No, I think that's.
Thank you.
I think that's central.
That's also a
Cool.
question that's like
Now
actually
you
debatable
switched
because
your-
it's definitely not. Even if they did it, it wouldn't change the hobby forever.
No.
But
That's
mean,
what
it might.
meant.
It might.
I think that's the one I was answering.
Okay,
Can you change your answer now?
No,
He
yeah.
did.
oh, these guys are a mess. Wait till they learn I can't even remember what
the
Mason
prompt here,
and-
Mason. So Mason and
Shit.
Thrifty both think we're going to get a Topps Chrome set next year.
Yeah.
Why?
Because for anniversary, plus they're literally partnering with everybody in the Mudda. They got SpongeBob, they got whatever, they got Disney
no.
princesses.
Oh,
now.
Tops is partnering with everybody.
Tops is
Yeah.
literally like infiltrating pop culture right now.
Why
Like,
would
what are we doing?
Pokemon? What if Pokemon hates Fanatics?
What do they?
Mason, what do you think? Why? Like everyone's
People
saying
love
yes,
Topps Chrome. I don't know why, but they
They-
sure love the crap out of
they-
Topps.
they do.
Just like
Dude,
they do, but
it's so
it-
weird.
it's a disaster. It takes away from the core TCG. Kids literally used to cry back in the
It's
day
just
when
another
they told their
marketing arm.
parents they
Now
want
we get a
Pokemon cards and they
one-of-one.
came home with the Topps cards instead of.
I do remember that is a real thing that
So-
people used to ask for Pokemon and they would get Tops.
My grandma
and
would
be
buy me
very
Topps.
disappointed.
yeah, that's
So-
exactly what I say. Like
And you
your
would
grandma
cry.
bought you this back in the day, didn't they? Yeah.
So
But I think we're in a
With your
different
grandma,
time.
did you?
I think we're in a different
With
time
your
though. I think
grandma, it's
today
crazy.
that would not be the sentiment.
No, look, I hope I'm wrong. I want there to be a Topps Chrome set. I've always wanted a second
You want a
gen
gold
Topps Chrome set.
refractor
I want one of
story?
ones. I want that stuff. I would love it. It would be insane. It would destroy everything that's happening, though. I mean, look at Lorcana. Lorcana's not winning because they've licensed out Disney cards to everybody, and people want to collect one of one Mickeys instead of what are they called in Lorcana?
Enchanted.
Enchanted.
That's what you get for
Iconic,
licensing
yeah.
the TCG with a puzzle company. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, there's other factors
here's
there.
That's what you get.
Here's the thing. I agree with John. I don't think it's going to happen. But, and it's not because John said like Pokemon hates Fanatics. I don't think that's true. I think it's because Topps specifically and how Topps model has changed to things like the superfractors, the one-of-ones, the high chase, the low supply, the really tough demand, having to wait in lines. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. The hobby boxes versus the retail boxes. I think it exacerbates a lot of the problems that already exist in the hobby. And I think if you compile that onto an anniversary with a special product, that now you also have no control over whether you want to reprint more because that's a new contract you got to make, a new whatever. I think it just creates a lot more problems. Like if you're in a boardroom and you're analyzing what can we do for an anniversary, you want to control every touch point of that. And I don't think you want to create something that could create more problems than good or be seen that way, especially for your anniversary.
True,
right?
I see what you're saying with that, but
You want that to go off without a hitch. And so that to me, I struggle with that one specifically. I also would love it. I didn't really like the Topps cards when I was a kid, but I like them now as an adult a lot. But I think part of that's because I've seen how sports culture around it's changed. And I don't think today they would be perceived in that same light. I don't think if a kid got Topps cards today, they'd be like, wow, I wanted regular Pokemon, because I think social media influencers would really drive the interest of those and make kids feel like they're a part of something and it's cool. Whereas when we were kids, we didn't have that. So the interest that was being driven was you're seeing Pokemon cards are getting banned in schools, and those were not the cards that they were talking about on the news segments, right? And so you felt like you were getting a lesser of. Whereas today, I think it would just be something different and not a lesser of.
I mean, up until
I
a
don't
couple
think
years
so.
ago, I was throwing away Topps cards in my collection.
That
I
is
just throw 'em
true.
away.
Yeah, I mean,
Mason is
look,
kicking
look,
himself for every Topps card he's ever thrown away. I promise you.
The like
never.
movie cards and
really,
the
but
show
yeah.
cards, yeah, toss them. But like the chrome are special, and I think,
Yeah.
I mean that's the other struggle too is like Topps controls their entire distribution channel now. If Pokemon would go through that, right? I mean, I'm sure they would fight on who handles distribution. That wouldn't be going through GTS and Southern and whoever. That
Right,
would be
right.
Going through,
Topps directly
Topps
their
Direct.
website. Yeah.
so that could cause a whole bunch of issues as well. I know everybody's like, oh, but Sarah Nanachani posted a picture of her signature.
Sports doesn't go through.
That's
Nitro?
isn't that for the Allen and Ginter set or whatever though?
So Allen and Ginter is historically always on card autos. So those
Oh.
were all stickers, which she did Allen and Ginter a couple years ago, a year ago, whatever it was. But I mean, I think she also has she didn't just voice Pikachu or Ash or whatever. Like she voiced other characters from other movies, I think. So there could be another.
Well, and they do. Isn't there like a Topps icon set or something also that they do that has celebrities and stuff in it? And like her notoriety now is kind of getting to the point where like I could see her being included in something like that, especially if she's already done collaborations with them. I saw that same thing where she'd posted it and everyone's like, "Oh, we're getting a Topps set for sure," and it's like I don't know that that's what I would
Or
take away from that.
also, they could just put like Pikachu's in there or something like, or Ashes with Pikachu's in there, and then just do it like the set where you could pull like, couldn't you pull like random Topps Pokemon cards out of like a set in recent history?
So the 75th anniversary, they did buybacks of Topps cards and stamped them with gold stamps.
That's what I'm saying.
Like one of ones, but they very well could just do like a shot of Sarah Nanachani on the back. It could say voice of Ash, right? Like I think that's allowed. I don't think that's IP. There's any IP issues there. So
yeah,
or
just voice actress, right? Like that.
Yeah, whatever.
So because she does a ton of things too. Like I know she does or did Ash, and she does a bunch of the Pokemon as well. But she does a lot of like anime and stuff too, I believe. And so that one's interesting. I know that that's really what started to spur that rumor. Again, would love to see it. My biggest fear, and this is the fear that I think all Pokemon fans just experience with regular product now, is I would love to open some of that for the anniversary. My fear is it would be so ungodly expensive and so difficult to get that I would never get to open it, which I think is just how the average person feels with most products.
I would spend ridiculous amount of money just.
You would, but see, I would struggle to justify it, right? And I think that's where a lot of people get into is it's not that they don't have the money; they just struggle to justify it, right?
Bro, the SpongeBob's are like $400 a box. It's like $4 something a box.
That's crazy.
For the hobby boxes, like
I think $4,000 a box.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that, and that's the problem, right? Because everyone knows, and if you put in one of ones in parallels and things like that, you are literally limited on how much you can produce. Like
they would have to make insane print runs. Like they would make it like out of 500s. It would start.
But then, but then, yeah. So when you create that collation, right? Your issue becomes however many 101s, however many out of 10s you make. You have to go so deep into that pool the more you print, because if you don't, those cards become so astronomically hard to hit that the box opening experience doesn't feel rewarding, right? The reason people really enjoy SpongeBob is because you hit out of 5s and 101s like a relatively decent hit rate, much better than like sports cards. I mean, you actually do.
Well, yeah, it's a smaller pool of characters
because it's a smaller pool of cards, a smaller pool of total cards
imagine
printed.
the bounty on a 101 Charizard.
Exactly, it would get. Like,
what a rush.
There's your first $1 million card. Like,
he's too swapped up.
So yeah, that one I struggle with, but that's pod. That's where we're at.
No,
I'm rounding this out.
You don't want to do one more?
Do you want to do one more? What was your one? You had a really good one, but I don't remember it.
This was because of.
Okay, John's gonna give us the last one, and I'll vote this time.
Yeah, you vote. Write down on a piece of paper. Get ready.
Okay, all right now.
With the recent news of Disney and the AI Sora ChatGPT partnership, will we get a Disney Lorcana animated series?
A Lorcana animated series? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear you when you said that the first time. Got it. All right.
So John, you got to preface. We either are or aren't. You can't ask either way because we're answering it is or is not off center.
Correct.
So you're saying that we will get a Lorcana.
We will get a Lorcana focused animation series.
I think mine's backwards, but
hey, Mason's in on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go no.
I also agree with Mason. I think
I don't know if it has anything to do with the AI thing, but I think that would be a fantastic thing to do, and it would be exactly what Lorcana needs to save its sorry butt from the production slump that it's in.
Bro, you know what they need? They need Kingdom Hearts to come. Little
Sora. Sorry. No, so I think the third line for John, the thought process is no one ever expected that Disney would license out their characters, especially not to an AI generator, right? There's a lot of risk that is perceived with that because people could do generations of things you don't want with your characters. You have a lot less control of your characters in terms of the world. No one ever expected that Disney would be the company to do that when they've been historically extremely restrictive of their IP, with probably only Pokemon being more restrictive. And yet here they've made this partnership. Is that a new guard changing the era of Disney and how they move forward, right? We've seen them with like ESPN bring on like the Pat McAfee show, and historically they would never have had a show like that on their network. Is Disney changing? And does that then open the door for them to do an anime collaboration and allow their characters to be used maybe in a setting that historically they wouldn't have put in a Disney movie? I think that's kind of where John's coming.
Weren't they using the characters for the Super Bowl last year? Wasn't that a thing?
What?
Weren't they using? Was that SpongeBob?
That was SpongeBob.
I think
SpongeBob was. Yeah. I don't think it was last year, but a few years ago, the SpongeBob was used in it. But yeah, it does lend the question. I want to answer this one because Mason and I really early on when Lorcana started talked about this exact thing. Not necessarily an anime, but just the world of Lorcana. because they released with Winnie the Pooh, and he was in like a wizard costume and had like
I
a
remember
scepter or whatever,
the honey
little
wizard.
honey scepter.
Yeah.
And we looked at that and we were like, oh man, they're going to build a whole world and story around Lorcana the cards. They're going to take these characters almost like Kingdom Hearts, right? They're going to build this whole thing out. They're going to make it an RPG-esque thing where they could spin off video games and TV and everything. And it just kind of never happened, right? Other than the unique Winnie the Pooh. And now I think they've started doing that maybe more with characters. But we hadn't really seen it, especially through their first few sets. It just almost kind of felt like, okay, this is, Mufasa from The Lion King in a Lion King scene. And this is, Tigger from Winnie the Pooh in a Tigger scene and whatever. And like, we didn't see that world flesh out like we thought, where it was going to be this really unique property to the
where's the lore in Lorcana? Can someone find me the lore, dude? Because I'm not.
Well, they would tell you it's playing the game and you collect lore. But I agree with you. I agree.
No, I was going to do a whole bit. I can't fake it because I don't know the lore, so I can't even fake to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Sorry,
but
that was a thrifty pun, Thrifty.
Okay.
And I think it's something that the game needs. And the reason I say that's one, I think it would be very successful. I think if they've already seen the success of Kingdom Hearts in bridging like, that universe with RPGs. But if you make something unique and original that people love, something good, it creates a customer acquisition funnel to your TCG. But it also creates it back the other way, where people are going to love that already love the TCG. It's also going to make people fall in love with those unique adaptations of those characters, right? The same way if they did a Kingdom Hearts Donald Duck, that's going to be appreciated by a certain group of fans in a different way than regular Donald Duck, which starts to create your collectors having interest in certain variations of cards. It allows you to repeat use characters and they not feel like you're overdoing it, because now you've got different variations, different costumes, things like that. I would love to see that integration. Now, that's difficult, right? Ravensburger, who licenses it from Disney and produces the game, would like, this is a multi conglomerate thing, right? You would have to essentially get with like, the Disney animation studio and like produce this thing, and like there's a bigger undertaking here. But man,
it's doable. That's like, isn't that their job?
It's
like,
doable.
It would just take effort and
it takes effort and money and time. But you know what? What we are seeing, TCGs are one of the hottest, not just toys, but alternative asset classes. It's one of the hottest like hobby interests in the world.
Like, why would you want to be
every
in
major
that?
IP want to get into it?
Just imagine a
right?
tag team Mickey Mouse Mufasa.
Hey yo,
yeah, like we're seeing so much growth and expansion in this sector because the money is there, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! We talked about on our second episode how Konami created an animation studio to produce animation for some of their modern characters and produce, that almost like tried to garner interest in the newer side of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not like this is that far-fetched of an idea. And when you've got that robust of IP access available to you and you're already willing to put it out into the ether, I actually think the catalyst that could drive this is if somebody went and used Sora and made one themselves via AI that was really good to the point that they're like, oh, holy crap.
Just make them make it. Like, show them
force them to make it because you made something that people want so bad that it shows them like, we've got to do this.
Somebody do it for One Punch Man Season 3, please.
so yeah, it is an interesting question. I think it's one on the surface everyone's like, okay, that's so weird, but it's not. I think I think it's something that, at least Mason and I for a long time have believed that expanding that world would really help Lorcana as a game.
It's literally just the Disney expanded universe of like, and they just all interact with like a very loose premise. Just why not do it? Everybody else is doing
kind of done before with Disney Infinity for video games when you bought the little figures and you like put them on the thing and there was like a game around it. Like this again, not a foreign concept to them.
It's there. They just got to make it.
They just got to lean in, folks.
Disney, Bob Iger, give us a call. We've got ideas. We're ready to go.
I don't know anybody that has young kids. Do they make Mickey cartoons anymore? Is it like a thing? Like, do they make new ones?
The Mickey Mouse Club, isn't that?
I think they do.
Disney's got to hire some collectible people. This is like,
bro. They have Bobby from the Hundreds, like the guy that made the Hundreds. He works for them.
Oh, that was recent. That's for like I think that's why clothing got better.
Merchandise. Like
that's why merch got better. Yeah,
like but he's on the team, bro. He's there.
Okay, that guy hire.
He
hire
also
that guy
cards
and then put him on a different team.
Bro,
so
I
they
met
can make
him
it.
at Dallas Collecticon. He's actually like he's into cards too. Yeah, he likes this.
That's awesome. Maybe there's going to be an intersection there. And again, a company that big, this stuff takes time. So it's not that they don't have plans. They could have these plans in the works, and that could take years and tons of green lighting and all kinds of stuff. But these are just ideas that we have rolling around in our head of ways that maybe the TCG gets a little better, a little bigger, and that's good
some
for
lore,
everybody.
dude.
Lore. But this has been the Off Center Podcast. I'm Squeaks. These are my co-hosts, Mason, Thrifty, and Radar, and we appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, do all the things, leave the comments down below, tell us how off-centered
Troll me in the comments, please.
And make sure to share this with your most off-centered friend. With that, we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.